Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. My name is Angela and I am the Spiritual Witch. And this is Wick. Say hi, Wick. Wick doesn't want to play now. I'm sorry, baby. She wants to crawl all over Mommy. Ow. Okay, where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna, oh, and then there's the other one. Which one are you? This video is not about kittens. Well, not entirely. My cat Broomsley had babies, and these are said babies. Here she goes. So today I'm back with another video, and this is another video in my series on the magic of the elements. There are 5 elements. We have earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. And I have already done videos on the element of air and water, and now I am coming to you with the video on air. Now, needless to say, we all know what air is and how vital that is to our very existence. Your very first breath of air was what signified your life on this planet. The reason that I am presenting you with these elements is not just for magical purposes. It's for your everyday life and living, and to structure yourself in a more balanced and peaceful way. The 4 elements are representations to show you the life force here on our planet and what we're working with. And the more that you can connect with these elements, I feel personally, the more balanced you'll be in your spiritual journey, in your everyday life, and magically for sure. So it has been said that the element of air is the glue that binds all things together. Air is everywhere. The space around you, it's the very breath that you take. It's incredibly important, you know, and if you think about the way that there is a communication between, you know, if we didn't breathe out the carbon, well, we breathe in oxygen from the plant life and from the trees, and then what we exhale is the carbon dioxide that the plants need in order to thrive. So the elements are just extremely important in, you know, the sort of give and take of nature with us. So in the craft, witches will often call on the 4 corners, and they will use different tools in order to represent the 4 elements, or the 5 elements, the 5th being spirit. There are different directions for each of the elements, and there are different tools that are used. So air is considered a masculine energy. It is the yang energy. I can hate this. So within the craft, the 4 elements are usually called upon during any spell or ritual that you might be doing. And those again are earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. When you are showing a representation of the element of air, that is going to be your setup representing the east. And the element of air is represented also by the masculine, or the yang energy. It is a life force energy. And so there are different tools that can be used to represent the element of air in your craft. And a lot of times witches will use smoke or incense in order to bring that into their ceremony or their ritual. So I'm just going to list off a couple of the ways in which you might think about air, or you might use it within a spell. Air represents movement, action, communication, concentration and focus, creativity, divination, energy, freedom, healing, imagination, inspiration, intuition, the mind, the thoughts, or memory. It represents power, spirits, travel, visions, and weather. And a couple of these that I just wanted to point out, speaking of in terms of spirits, you know, if you believe in, you know, ghosts or spirits or the paranormal, you know that they will mention that if there is a spirit around you, then the air will become cool. And that's just said to be how spirits can affect the air. In terms of healing, it has been shown by different healers that they use breath work in order to heal people. Communication is obviously in the realm of the air element. I mean, when you think of our words, and when you're speaking, obviously you need to breathe in order to speak, and communication is very closely tied to the air element. Things like imagination and inspiration, your intuition, it's things of the mind. So moving on, I like to think of, you know, in everyday life, like, how does air make you feel? In my other videos, that was the big thing for me here, is to get you to sort of tap into how each element makes you feel. You know, when you go outside and it's a windy day, is it something that's irritating to you, that it's blowing everything everywhere, or is it something that you really enjoy? You can actually tap into and feel the energy and the power behind that, those gusts of wind and air. You know, think about the breeze that you feel, the air you feel. Is it cold? Is it hot? Think about a beautiful breeze on a nice summer day, and how, you know, you're sitting there and you're you know, burning up in the heat of the sun, and then all of a sudden you get that nice, beautiful summer breeze that flows over you and caresses your skin and blows through your hair, and how that makes you feel. When you're near the water, whether it's a lake or a beautiful ocean, the breeze that comes off the ocean and how that makes you feel. I mean, personally, I can feel the purification and the cleansing of the ocean air. So when you're outdoors, you can think of the air element in terms of the connection, like you know, seeing birds flying across the sky, when you see that beautiful butterfly landing near you, or the dragonfly that seems to hover in the air around you. That's another way to recognize the air element. Pay attention to the sky, and if it's a cloudy day, watch the way the air carries the clouds across the sky. Notice the different patterns and the way the movement of the clouds change. Again, if you're near a body of water and it's a windy day, notice the ripples on the surface of the water and how the air changes, you know, from changes the lake surface or the pond surface from a nice soft glaze to beautiful little ripples. One of my most absolute favorite ways to connect to the element of air is right before a storm, or actually during a storm. I have this big beautiful tree right outside my window, and just watching the leaves go crazy, just the energy of the trees, you know, blowing in the wind, and how fierce it gets. And that's another thing that I was going to mention too, you know, is that air can seem very subtle, and it can seem very passive and soft and cleansing and purifying and healing. But boy, when storms rage, you know, if you think about the power and destructive nature of a tornado or a hurricane, so the soft element of air can sometimes become quite fierce and destroy as well as heal. So now moving on to give you some ways in which you can connect on a daily basis to the element of air. Literally just go outside. Find a spot where you can either take a walk or just sit and notice the things that I mentioned, such as the little winged characters that fly around, you know. Notice the birds, the trees blowing, petals on the flowers, you know, fluttering around. Just sit and feel the breeze, you know, moving through your hair and across your skin, cooling you. If you're in an area or it's a time of year when you can actually get outside and just sit and observe, then meditate. Meditate, meditate, meditate. That is redundant for me, but I'm always going to mention it because meditation is extremely, extremely powerful. So it's not just about sitting in meditation and quieting the mind. One of the best ways that I have found for meditation is to focus on your breath. And what is breath connected to but the element of air? So as you're sitting in meditation and you're taking deep breaths, you know, do it to a count of 4. So inhale to the count of 4 and exhale to the count of 4. And literally just think about the air element as the life force within you. Give thanks to the element of air for giving you life. Using incense is a wonderful way to visually connect with the element of air, because a lot of times that's why the element goes unnoticed, is because it's so within everything, it seems, you know, that we just don't focus on it. For magical purposes, that is the one way that witches will sometimes use that element on their altar, is by setting up incense. So incense are a nice way to be able to visually show you what air does and how it can dance with, you know, the smoke of the incense. Something that we do in witchcraft is speaking our intentions, or at least I do. It's so important to not only write down your intention when you're crafting, but to speak it. And the reason I feel this way is that, you know, as I said, the element of air is connected with movement. And so during my rituals, I will often speak my intention, because I feel that that gives it movement, and that, you know, once it comes from the life force inside me, the prana or the chi, I feel like using my breath to push that out into the universe gives it that little extra something, you know what I mean? It gives it that element of magic. I'm using the life force within in order to connect and push out my intention. Blessing things with your breath, and that might sound a little weird, but no, I mean seriously. I have something that I do on a daily basis, and well, not actually daily, but I will use my moon water. I have this cup. This is actually a glass that is from the Great Depression era, and I set out an offering of water and make sure that this is has water in it each and every day. And this, it kind of has to do with healing and mending across different timelines. What I will do is I will actually take my moon water that I have from the full moon, and as I pour it into this glass, it is an offering. And then what I do, talking about, you know, using your breath to bless things and cleanse or purify or enchant things, I will speak into the water and into the glass my intention and my blessing. You know, speaking blessings into your everyday drinking water is a really good practice that you can sort of take on, just to kind of add a sense of focus to that element. Chanting is a way to connect with the element of air. Chanting is incredibly, incredibly powerful. Singing is also another way. Movement is very, very powerful, again, along with chanting or singing. Any type of movement with your body increases not only your energy, but the energy around you. Many tribes throughout history have used movement and dancing in order to raise power within. You can use the smudging for a way to connect with the element of air, using the sage or the, you know, different smudge bundles. Use a feather to distribute the smoke from the smudge stick. That's a beautiful way that you can not only cleanse but connect with the element of air. Whenever you light a candle, just sitting and focusing on the flame, and watch the way, the movement of the flame, the way that it dances when it connects to air. Singing bowls are also a fantastic way. I consider it, you know, listening to and hearing the element of air. Another way that I will connect with the element of air is when cooking. You know, when you see the steam rising out of the pan or the pot on the stove, you know, and you're stirring and preparing the food for your family or for yourself, you can bless the air in that way. Okay, so now that I've given you quite a few, you know, different methods and ways that you can connect to the element of air, and given you ways in which you can think about it on a daily basis and sort of incorporate it into your life and connect your body and your mind and your spirit with that element, I am going to dip into my beautiful Correspondences book. I've shared this in the other two elemental videos as well. This is a great book that I think is really, really helpful to have in your toolbox. You can refer to this in order to, you know, just find different correspondences and things that can help you when you're doing spellcraft, when you want to just do a regular ceremony or any type of thing that you do in your practice. So I'm going to list off a few of not every single one, but a few of the correspondences that go along with the element of air. So the season that corresponds with the element of air is the spring. The direction for the element of air is the east. The time of day is dawn. The energy, as I told you before, is the yang energy. Colors that correspond are blue, light blue, gray, lavender, pink, red, silver, white, and yellow. The chakras that correspond to the element of air are the crown, the heart, and the throat. Corresponding number is 5. In the tarot, the cards that relate or correspond with the element of air are the Fool, Swords, and Wands. And the reason it lists here both swords and wands for the corresponding tarot, I know personally I consider swords to go with the element of air, but there are some practices that actually use the wands as the corresponding card to the element of air. Just a few of the trees that correspond with the element of air are the apple tree, ash, cedar, the chestnut, elder, elm, hawthorn, hazel, holly, the maple tree, oak, olive, palm, pine, sycamore, and walnut. Some herbs and flowers that correspond with the element of air: bergamot, broom, clover, dandelion, fern, ivy, lavender, lily of the valley, marigold, mugwort, peppermint, primrose, sage, spearmint, thyme, vervain, violet, and yarrow. And there are more listed, but I don't want to go through every single one. Miscellaneous plants. We have anise, bamboo, bittersweet, eyebright, frankincense, goldenrod, meadowsweet, mistletoe, myrrh, nutmeg, reed, sandalwood, star anise, and wormwood. Gemstones that you might use to correspond: agate, ametrine, angelite, aragonite, aventurine, blue lace agate, celestite, desert rose, moldavite, opal, quartz, and it says here clear quartz, so sodalite, topaz, and tourmaline, blue tourmaline. The corresponding metals are aluminum, mercury, and tin. The insect that's listed here as a correspondence is the firefly, but I personally think of anything that has wings to be a corresponding little creature to the air element. And then also we have elves, fairies, pixies, and sylphs that are corresponding little magical creatures. Birds that they have listed here are albatross, condor, eagle, falcon, hawk, and seagull. And the corresponding sense is the sense of smell. And the corresponding ritual tools are the athame, incense, and sword. So those are just to list a few, and the reason that I like to kind of go over that, as redundant as it may be, is that, like I said, just to show you this book, to give you just sort of a frame of reference. It's nice to have different literature within your, in your collection, so that you can easily pick it up, and then this right here is going to give you a good basis. So as I've said in my previous videos, I think it's really important on a day-to-day basis to connect with each of the elements. And, regardless of what your spiritual journey is, if you can develop a personal relationship with the elements that, we consider to be out there, just incorporate those and find a way to breathe in those elements and ground yourself using the elements. Then when you're in situations where negative things or situations occur for you, this gives you really a toolbox within to use. You can actually just go within and find these sources within you and develop and find a way to just to exist, on a more peaceful level. So I hope that this video has helped you in some way. Please let me know in the comments below if you have any specific ways that you connect with the element of air. And until the next video, stay magical and be blessed. Have a great week, and I will see you soon.